something good in your video.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop now, okay?
Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Saturday. Welcome to another vlog. We are all just getting over being sick. In just a little bit, I'm going to be going to the bookstore to use some credit I have at a local used bookstore. And I'm going to leave these rascals at home with Colin because it's Saturday, so I'm going to have a pretty rare hour by myself at the bookstore, and I think I'm going to get some coffee, and I might take you with me. We'll see.
This.
Is that your turtle? Is there a bunny riding your turtle? Oh, hi. Yes. I just finished my last book. I just finished a book last night called Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Talked, I think is what it's called. This is unideal. This is not ideal, River. This is not ideal vlogging material. Turtle on my head? Bunny on your head? Here. Bunny and turtle on your head. So this is the book I just finished last night, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, by Eric LaRocca. It's a series of 3 vignettes, and they're horror, and they're pretty twisted. I'll talk about it another time more fully on a book video, but it's a really good book. It's about our desperate need for connection as humans, and it really kind of pushes my boundaries a little bit. I've been kind of inching forward and experimenting more and more with really dark literature and horror particularly, and I think I found my line. This just crosses the line. It was really good, but not necessarily for me. But like I said, I'll talk more about it later. But it's very twisted. It's very macabre. It's very dark. If you're into that kind of thing, it was good. It was good. It just wasn't quite for me. Other book that I'm reading right now that River just pulled my bookmark out of is Heroes by Stephen Fry. It's the second in a 3-part series about Greek mythology. I'm mostly listening to this on audiobook because Stephen Fry reads it, and why not? I really like having these books around as reference, but I also really like listening to them. So I'm about halfway through this one. The heroes aren't my favorite part of Greek mythology, but I'm enjoying it. But I want to go to the bookstore today where, like I said, I have some credit and get a new book because I'm out of physical books to read now. I don't have much of a physical TBR, like unread books. So I'm hoping to go buy a new one. We'll see what I get. That's your bunny. Yeah. All right. I'll see you there.
The ship was in hot pursuit behind them. Medea looked back and recognized the prize galley of the Colchian fleet. It is my father. A week later, the Argo slipped safely and unobserved through the marshes that fringed the mouth of the Istros and entered into Thrace. Jason was faced with a difficult choice. To the west lay the travel that passed.
Okay, I'm done at the bookstore. Pardon my mask lines. But that was really nice. I sold a couple books, got some more credit, and just browsed around for a little while at a used bookstore, which I just don't really get to do anymore. And I got a few things. I got something for myself. I got Electra by Jennifer Saint, which is a Greek mythology retelling. I also got a couple things for the kids. I got Lucy a Mad Libs, which she's never done before, so I think that'll be fun. And then I got River, just a board book of animals. And now I'm gonna head home in time for lunch with Colin and the kids, and we'll see what we get up to from there. Maybe I'll start my book today. Probably, because I'm out of books now. Do you like the pancakes, Lucy? Okay, good. Ooh. Is that your snack? And that looks good.
And Mom, like this.
Is that your snack?
Like this.
It's actually not hot, it's cold.
My I want to have bookmarks.
Press down. Oh, that looks good, Lucy. You did it so good. Stegosaurus, do you want to help me with the Stegosaurus? Press down. Yeah, good job. Good job.
Like this.
Tonight we're going to Colin's brother's house for dinner. They're gonna make pollo asado tacos and we're bringing cookies and drinks. And I'm gonna make like a big batch of margaritas. I'm just gonna mix together tequila, lime juice, and Grand Marnier in a mason jar and bring my cocktail shaker with me. I can just kind of portion it out and mix the cocktails as we go. And I'm also gonna bring lime LaCroix because I found out that that's really good. If you mix like a mini margarita and then top it off with lime LaCroix, it's like super duper good. And we're gonna bring some Modelo too. So that's gonna be fun. I've read a little bit of Electra since we last spoke, which was yesterday, and I'm that far, so I'm not terribly far, but I'm enjoying it so far. I do wish I knew more about Troy and the Trojan War. That's one part of this kind of history that I don't know much about. I don't really understand that much of, and the third Stephen Fry book is Troy. I kind of avoided all of these Greek, like feminist Greek mythology retellings that have to do with Troy. and the Trojan War, because I read one of them and it was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. For one, I just don't, war stories, books, stories centered around war or fighting or battling, I just have so little interest in. And so I've never been that interested in the Trojan War. So I don't know anything about it. But many of these stories are about smaller aspects of the war, specific people. This one has to do with kind of peripheral people in the Trojan War, I think, because it starts out being about one of the main characters is Clytemnestra, who is Helen's sister, Helen of Troy. So I have a feeling we're approaching the Trojan War in this book, and I kind of wish I had read Troy before this so that I kind of have more of a picture of what's going on, but that's okay. I'll get to Troy next. I can't remember if I mentioned this before. I don't think I did. But I started reading Heroes because it has the tale of Medusa in it. And Natalie Haynes, who is another one of these authors that does these retellings, she has a book coming out called Stone Blind, which is Medusa's story. And it's on its way to me now. I ordered it from Book Depository. It's not out in the United States yet, but it's out in the UK or something. So I ordered a UK version and it's coming to me right now. And I'm really excited to read it. So I wanted to read her story from Stephen Fry first before I started reading that book. So now that I have this one that I'm working on now, I'm tempted to put it down and read Troy next and then pick this book up, but I'm probably not going to. I'm just going to keep going with it. And the picture of the Trojan War will start to come to me before I read Troy, and maybe then I'll move on to some of the other books that are more directly related to the Trojan War. But I think I'm just going to continue reading this, and then I'll probably pick up Troy after I'm done with Heroes. And then once I'm done with this, I'll read Stone Blind, which is coming to me in the mail right now. So I'm definitely back on the Greek mythology and history or whatever train. Once I read one book in this whole thing, I end up reading 5 books, and then I'll move on to something else after I get kind of bored with it. So that's been fun. Okay, I'm going to get back to reading, and I will see you again when we decorate cookies. Hi. So it's Monday, and hi squirrel. Do you like my fuzzy Costco sweater? It's my fuzzy Costco sweater. So earlier today, I finished Stephen Fry's Heroes, and then I started Troy. So this is Stephen Fry telling the story of Troy and the Trojan War. And I don't know, I'm just into it now, I guess. I'm going all the way. I also found out that Stephen Fry has an Odyssey retelling coming out in 2024, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm very early on, so I'm enjoying it. I'm going to listen to it right now. I got my earbuds, and I just finished writing up my post that's going to go up on Patreon February 1st. If you don't know, I do have a Patreon. There's a link in the description box below if you're interested in joining and supporting me. If you like the videos I make, I would very much appreciate it. The lowest tier is $1, and it goes up from there. But there are some cool things that you can get, including once a month at the beginning of the month, all tiers $5 and up get access to digital downloads of digital art that I create. And typically so far, it's been a design that is turned into a phone background and a calendar. So I just wrote up my post, I uploaded the images and everything, and I scheduled that to go up. And now I'm about to head out into the garage to do some dyeing. I dyed some really cool yarn for Patreon that matches the design this month, which I think is really cool, and that's drying out there, so I need to skein that up and get that ready to mail out sometime next week. And I'm also going to dye some yarn for the shop for an update that I'm going to have probably at the end of February, maybe more mid-February, I'm not sure, but I've been dyeing a lot for that too. So if you're interested in Moonstone Dyeworks, which is my yarn, stay tuned on Instagram and the website because that is coming up. Got some new colorways and I'm very excited. Okay, so I'm not gonna take this, but I am gonna take these and I'm gonna listen to Troy while I go dye some yarn. Okay, I'm done with work for the day. And now I think I'm going to sign off on this vlog by showing you the things that I've been knitting lately. Knitting update commencing. This is my brioche scarf, which you've seen a couple times if you've been following recent videos, and here's where I am. Look how big it is. It's so long. So this is my scarf that I'm knitting. It's just straight up one color brioche, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth forever. I'm using Elsa wool in a sport weight. It's a woolen spun Cormo, and it's beautiful. So here's what it looks like. This is where I joined the second ball. So from here to here is the first ball. And then this is my second ball so far. Here's what I'm working from. It's a medium gray. Here is the other ball I have. It's the same yarn, but a very light oatmeal-y gray. And so 2/3 of it are gonna be this. 1/3 of it is gonna be this. And I think that'll be long enough. I am also gonna add fringe to both sides. Probably in both colors, like mixed. My next collection of projects is living in this giant roller skate bag that my friend Julia made me. In here, I have got a collection of hats that I'm working on. I am using Celestari 2-ply wool, which is an Aran weight, to make my son River a hat. This is the Pearl Soho Classic Cuff hat, but since this is Aran weight and that pattern calls for worsted weight, I've gone up a needle size, and I'm using a size 6 and an 8 rather than a 5 and a 7, which is what it calls for. And I'm doing the kid size, and it's just gonna be a little bit bigger. And here's what that's looking like. It's definitely a toothier wool. It's pretty stiff and thick because it's Aran, and not terribly soft. It's kind of soft, like it's a little like lanolin-y, like that kind of like greasy soft. But we'll see what it feels like after I block it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. It's going to be a great hat. I am still working on this business, which is my hand spun hat. If you watched my last episode where I talked about this initially, you'll know that I was planning on ripping back and knitting the smaller size. Sorry, this is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, and this is my hand spun yarn that I'm knitting it in. And as you can see, I have ripped stuff out and wrapped it around my cake. And that's because I did rip it back to the increases, and I restarted with the next smallest size down. I think I measured my gauge wrong at the beginning, so I was not only knitting a size larger than I wanted, I was knitting like 2 or 3 sizes larger than I wanted, because not only did I get my gauge wrong, but I did a size, anyway, it was gonna be really big. So now I have the proper gauge measurement and the proper size. according to my measurements. And here we go. This is where I'm at. I love it. It's beautiful. This is still, well, it used to be a skein and now it's a cake. So this is going to be Lucy's new hat. It's a sport weight. It is Quince & Co. Chickadee in the peacock colorway. And I only have the 50 gram cake, so I don't know how much of a hat I'm going to get out of this for a 4-year-old, but it might have to be two-tone. I don't know, because I might not have enough yarn. The last thing in this giant bag is this yarn, which is, it's Wollmeise DK. I have 3 skeins of this, and this is what I pretty much decided to use for my all-over open mesh pullover that I talked about in my last episode. So the pattern that I got for it is sweater number 21, I think it's called, by somebody. I'm just gonna look it up because I don't want to like have to put the stuff on the screen and stuff like that, so I'm just gonna tell you. Sweater number 21 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And it's a pattern that calls for a bulky weight yarn to be held together with a lace weight yarn. So that's a really big chunky gauge. And it's an open mesh lace work all over, pullover, drop shoulder, pullover. I decided I wanted to use a DK. This is what I had in my stash that was enough to make a whole sweater. And I wanted to use a thinner yarn for that bigger gauge anyway, because I wanted it to be even more open work and less bulky. The thing about this yarn, and this is always the problem with this yarn, I've started several things in this yarn and always rip it out. It's a really dense, tightly applied yarn. It's not fluffy. It's very dense. It's very springy. And I did a gauge swatch with the needle called for, and it was too bad. It was not great. I did not love the fabric. It was terrible. So I ripped it out. I'm going to try to swatch again with a smaller needle size and see what happens. But I might give up on this yarn and try a different route. I have undyed bulky weight yarn in my yarn dyeing stash that I could dye and just use bulky instead of bulky and lace. But I think my ideal would be worsted. I think my ideal would be like a Cascade 220 or like a Knit Picks Wool of the Andes or something like that. I just don't want to buy yarn. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what I do. I have no idea. But that's where that is. Those are my knitting updates. That's what's happening here right now. That's what I've been reading and what I've been knitting and what I've been working on and what I've been drinking and eating. I had pancakes the other day for breakfast. Did you see that? They were really good. They were gluten-free banana pancakes from Minimalist Baker. Thank you for joining me for my like little weekend length kind of vlog. I'm so happy that you decided to spend some of your internet time with me on my channel, hanging out with me and my kids and my cat and Stephen Fry. Okay, have a beautiful day. Give this video, can you see my mask lines? So these aren't like going out mask lines. These are my respirator mask lines from dyeing. So my face always has this on it somehow. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're doing something fun or productive or relaxing or joyous in some way or another. If you liked this video or want to see more vlogs, leave me a comment below and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. That would be lovely. Okay, love you. Bye.